You are listening to Making Sense with Alison Blackler. Welcome to Making Sense. This is our 13th episode. We are so grateful to everyone who listens in, sends us messages and requests. This show is developing slowly but surely, and we really do need to hear from you. George and I are down in the studio at Wirral Wave Radio, recording this today, which is in Hamilton Square in the heart of Birkenhead. So, as I say, I've got George here in the studio, who is always my left hand and right hand and everything else around the technical side of the show. He's still not sure about saying hello. He says he'd rather go on TikTok, but I'm not sure about that. But I just want to say also that George obviously supports me around all of my marketing, my website, social media. So he is definitely the one who's behind all that. So we hope that you are enjoying listening to this show, and hopefully you caught our last show. And the main focus of that show was hope, and we had the inspirational Christine Handy as our special guest. And if any of you follow Christine on her socials, she is extremely active around hope, around positivity, and around just showing up and being yourself. So I do urge you to check her out. If you have missed any episode, you can watch, no you can't, you can listen to them again on our website, Wirral Wave, or you can go on YouTube. Two Minds YouTube also has the show, so you can check in anytime. And please do share this show and Wirral Wave Radio with any of your friends and family. It is something for everyone, and hopefully without the adverts and the news and the weather, it's something that you can all tap into. Right, so let's have a think about this show. So in this show, we are going to explore our relationship with time and how this affects us making sure that we're looking after ourselves, our self-love, our acts of kindness, because time can be our greatest thing, but it can also be our biggest challenge. We also have an interview with our special guest, Sharon Ralph. And Sharon is a behavioural scientist and a coach, and she is known as the Queen of Courage. And this is after 50 years of working in the corporate world. Sharon is over in the States, and she's going to be our guest today, where we talk about courage, how we can get more. And Sharon shares her vulnerability, which I hope will inspire you. We did have Becky Corran as our guest, but she's going to be coming along on a different day now. Before we get going, I just wanted to share a little bit of something that I've been involved in, which I have mentioned before, which is Cheshire Woman of the Year. And we had the event in June, which was just the most inspirational event. We had 110 ladies, and we were celebrating all the unsung heroes in 3 different categories: personal courage, community, and outstanding in business. And what a day we had. It was so positive, so many stories, laughter, crying even. Some of the things that some of those ladies have managed and dealt with and coped with is absolutely inspirational. If any of you want to have a little look, we have a website, CheshireWomanAward.org.uk, and you can see all the photographs of the day, and you can find out a little bit more about the whole event and maybe how you can get involved. So I would absolutely love you to look that up. Okay, so in this show we also have great tunes lined up for you as ever, all selected with lyrics that are linked to our topics. So do stay tuned. Okay, let's get going with our music. And our first choice today is we have chosen a powerful tune by Labi Sefri, Something Inside So Strong. This song was released in 1987 and has been covered by many people many times. I think it's a very inspirational and uplifting tune to get us started. So I hope you enjoy it.
your barriers, the taller I become. The farther you take my rights away, the faster I will run. You can deny me, you can decide to turn your face away. No matter, 'cause there's something inside so strong. I know that I can make it, though you're doing me wrong, so wrong. You thought that my pride was gone. Oh no, there's something inside so strong. Oh, something inside so strong. The more you refuse to hear my voice, the louder I will sing. You hide behind walls of Jericho, our lies will come tumbling. Deny my place and time, you squander wealth that's mine. My light will shine so brightly it will blind you, 'cause there's something inside so strong, so strong. I know that I can make it, though you're doing me wrong, so wrong. You thought that my pride was gone. Oh no, there's something inside so strong. Oh, something inside so strong. Brothers and sisters, when they insist we're just not good enough, when we know better, just look them in the eyes and say, we're gonna do it anyway, we're gonna do it anyway. There's something inside so strong, and I know that I can make it, though you're doing me wrong, so wrong. You thought that my pride was gone. Oh no, there's something inside so strong. Oh, something inside so strong. Sisters, when they insist we're just not good enough, when we know better, just look them in the eyes and say, we're gonna do it anyway, we're gonna do it anyway, we're gonna do it anyway, we're gonna do it anyway. That my pride
Right, hopefully that's got us started. Quite a mellow song, but a very powerful one, in my opinion. Okay, so as I said before, in this show, we're going to look at time and our relationship with it. I felt that during lockdown, some people definitely had a different perception of time, and this changed what we were doing. New and different habits were started, and yet a lot of these had stopped because we were busy. We've become busy again, so we've stopped them. We are now back to trying to fit everything in again. And I think it's going to be quite good for us to just pause and think about time and our relationship with it. So the truth is, most of us have a pretty opposing relationship to time. There's never enough. We're always behind. It goes by too fast. We can't do important things because we don't have enough time. And none of this is very helpful. So let's have a little look at first at there's never enough time. And I hear people saying this all the time. And I'm sure you're thinking, yep, I say that quite often. It's very powerful because there is some truth in it, that time is limited and precious. And while none of us know how much time we have left in this life, we do know that it's limited. It's helpful to remember that we must make the most of our limited time. But time is also abundant. Think of the past few years. It might seem like they have passed really quickly, but actually we had so many more hours, we can't count them. We had a huge abundance of hours. Maybe you didn't spend them quite as wisely as you would have liked, but we have plenty of time. We still do today and this month and this year. The key is to see this abundance and feel it actually in your body. It's like the abundance of oxygen in the air all around us. It's limited and precious, but we have plenty of it and we can breathe freely and with joy. So that's true about time. We have more than enough for our needs. We can do amazing things with the time we have. It's not about how much time we have, but how we use it, how we experience it. With all that, I'd like us to look at a handful of ways that we can shift so that we can master our relationship with time. So my point number 1 is to see the gift of time that we have. Every day we have a huge gift. We get to have this time. We get to use it to make something, to be joyful, to be happy, to laugh, to listen to music, to see nature, to move, to read, to feel. So instead of looking at how little time we have, we can appreciate the time we have as an incredible, powerful gift. Every hour is a tremendous gift. Every moment. Can you see the gift of time that we have and appreciate it fully? And if you could do that, how would this shift how you feel about your day? Okay, so my next point is to use time intentionally and joyfully. If every hour is a gift, are you going to waste it? Or can you use it intentionally for something that is important and meaningful to us? And by the way, rest is important and self-care is meaningful. Can we use this gift as best we can? And can we experience it with joy and with appreciation? And again, how might this shift how we use our time? My point number 3 is be honest about your priorities. A lot of time we use time as an excuse as to why we're not doing something or as a reason to say no. We all do it. And we say things like, sorry, I don't have time. And this is a way to honour our boundaries, but it's not fully honest. We all have the time. We just need to prioritise it because the time isn't unlimited. We choose to spend our time based on what is important to us. If you're not out helping the homeless or saving orphans, it's not because you don't have time. It's because we have chosen to prioritise maybe earning money, taking care of a family member, taking care of yourself, or doing something else meaningful. If we're honest to ourselves about our priorities, then we don't need to use time as an excuse. We can just say it's not my priority right now, and then see the things we've chosen as the priorities, as this way you'd like to spend your time. And for now, my next and last point for this section is to create space in your day. If you have some clear priorities, why not create the time to make them happen? We often feel that we don't want to prioritise something, but we don't have time. Then we need to make the time. If you can't, then you just have to admit that it's not a priority right now. If it is a priority, let's see if you can create the space. So let's have a little think about that. I just want you to pause now and just see what that all means for you. Remember, we're just looking at how we perceive time, because it does make a difference in how you will show up and how you will manage. So my next point is don't let things get familiar. Most of us have experienced the feeling that time is flying by faster and faster every year. This is likely because of a phenomenon where we don't notice things when they get really familiar. It's like driving through your neighbourhood on the way home without seeing any of it. It's all familiar and you're in autopilot. That's how we experience much of our days. Things get really familiar and we don't notice it. But if we do stop letting things get too familiar, if we do start looking at everything as if we're seeing it for the first time, then we slow time down. And time then all of a sudden becomes less bleary and we'd be fully in the moment. So just keep those in mind and let's pause now and have another tune. I'll come back with a few more for you. So this tune we have chosen is Clocks by Coldplay. Thought it was very appropriate as we're talking about time. And if you've ever felt like time is slipping through your hands, then you can probably capture the essence of this tune. I hope you enjoy it.
Lights go
online and mobile.
Alexa, play Wirral Wave. Wirral Wave.
Okay, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that song by Coldplay. So I've got a couple more ideas around our relationship with time. So my next one is be more intentional. Be intentional about slowing down. Time becomes vivid, slower and real if you are more intentional. Next one is savour and be fully present to slow down time. If we think about time as a treat to be savoured, we can become fully present with it. Think of the hours of your day as a lovely warm drink waiting to be sipped, or a cool drink as it's hot today, and how it fully tastes. Time isn't just sand slipping through your fingers. It is a pleasurable thing which we can take our time to enjoy. And my last one is change your language to I have enough time. There is always enough time, or something similar. If we keep saying I don't have enough time, your focus is on no time rather than on there being plenty or enough. So have a little think about each of these and practice them by fully inhabiting each practice. Give yourself chance to fully practice and then see what happens. See if your relationship with time might never be the same again. But do remember to take your time to maybe have a go, choose one to have a go at first. When I say have a go at, sometimes it's just changing your thoughts, but focus on maybe one at a time rather than try and do them all, because there's lots of different options there for you to choose from. But remember, just having a one small thing to practice and to focus on can make all the difference. But if you can choose to see time differently, then you will have a different experience. And I think I just want to remember and remind everyone that what is really important to me about this show and all of my work is to help you feel supported, connected and empowered to make any changes that you want. I hope that the information that I've shared today about time is going to be useful for you, because we often see it as almost our enemy. Because I believe that if we understand a little bit more about why and how we do things, then we've got a greater chance of changing it. So I just want to touch on something else around time perception again, just see what you think of this. So memory also has an impact on how we perceive time. An exciting holiday will seem to fly by. A week at work, trawling through emails, can drag on and on. However, when we look back on these different periods several months later, your memory will tell you otherwise. Time perception is a fundamental element of human awareness. Our consciousness, our ability to perceive the world around us, and ultimately our very sense of self are shaped upon our perception of time in a loop connecting memories of the past, present sensations and expectations about the future. Yet the way we perceive time is widely debated. Our perception of time changes with age, but it also depends on our emotional state. Research is steadily improving our understanding of the brain circuit that controls this sense. Time is an integral part of our daily life, regardless of whether you're in a hurry, relaxed, gripped by any emotion or bored stiff. We may be walking, driving, listening to music, hearing the phone ring, taking part in a conversation, doing a sport, but time is always there, immaterial. Whereas all our senses, our touch, our sight, our hearing, smell and taste, bring into play specialising sensory receptors. There is no specific receptor for time. Yet it is present in us. Our brain begins a real-time machine. It can distort time and it can prompt fear. It can put us in a state of arousal, which then speeds up the rate of the internal clock. So one of the most important tricks to get into our toolkit is to be able to work on managing our fear centre. And obviously for so many reasons, but when we are talking about the perception of time, the mind can and will catastrophise a situation and have you believing that you are out of time because the fear centre has been activated. I know that if I allow this to take over and I feel overwhelmed, I can blow up in my mind that buying a pint of milk will take me 2 hours. So I hope that resonates with a few of you, and we now need to focus on settling ourselves because, of course, buying a pint of milk won't take that long, and our rational mind needs to step in and remind us of that. All these situations affect our view on time, and choosing to focus on this during this show, I hope has helped and will help you be able to look at your own relationship with time, because time is affected and does get affected by our ability to be able to look after ourselves, to have self-care, self-love, have fun times, and all the extra things in life which lead us to have a balanced life. And we often miss those. We cancel things and we neglect it because we think we haven't got time. I would love to hear your thoughts and reflections on this huge topic, and maybe it is one that we will return to on a later date. Okay, so before our guest, let's pause now again and let's have a really fun, good, upbeat vibe and play another tune. This has not necessarily got a direct message other than it is just a feel-good factor. And we're going to play Walking on Sunshine by Katrina and the Waves. And this song was released in 1983. And it is definitely one to have a little dance around to if you fancy. I hope you enjoy it.
And I just can't wait till the day when you knock on
Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that. Something from a very long time ago and a really good tune, I think. Okay, so I want to tell you a little bit about what's coming up before we play our guest. There is going to be a Wellbeing Festival in New Brighton for those that are local, and it is going to have an evening activity on the evening of the 9th of July, which is ticketed, and we will have meditation, yoga, sound baths, chakra dancing. I will be there doing a reading from my book. And then on the Sunday, there is going to be a wellbeing market. So would absolutely love to see some of you there. Come and say hi. And the details are going to be on our socials. So if you check out 2-minds, no it isn't, that's the website. The Instagram is Alison 2-minds and Facebook is 2-minds UK. You'll be able to get more information about that. And then I've also got 2 book signings coming up, which is just so brilliant because both of my books, as some of you will know, were launched during lockdown. So I didn't actually get to sit with people and chat and etc. So we've got 2 book signings coming up. The first one is at Right Blend in Crosby in Liverpool on Saturday the 2nd of July. I think that's 2 till 4. And then the other one is at Lingham's in Heswell, and that is the 16th of July. And I think that's 2 till 3. And I will be there. Would love to chat with people, maybe do a little mini coaching session. Maybe if somebody's got something they want to come and have a chat about. It's going to be really chilled, no big queues, just me. And if anyone wants to come along and talk to me, I would love to see you. Okay, let's move on now to hearing from our guest of the show. So I had a chat with Sharon Rolfe, who is based in the United States. She is really fun. She's a coach and a behavioral scientist. She's fun. She's easygoing. And we had a great chat about loads of things, about courage, about self-love, and much, much more. So I hope you enjoy it. Thank you for tuning in to Making Sense with Alison Blackler.
I'm Sharon Rolfe, and I live north of Seattle, Washington. And what makes me most unique is being a behavioral scientist. And what we'll talk about today might see some of that behavioral scientist in me because I love bringing out the best in people and encouraging you to be your best. So let's get into it there.
Nice. Being your best. Okay, so it's great to have you on Making Sense. And this show is all around how we make sense of ourselves and our behaviours and our minds. And something that I am really passionate about is helping people look for tools and techniques for how they can do whatever it is, be better, be kinder to yourself, be happier. And something that really sparked my attention when I saw your profile, Sharon, was that you were the Queen of Courage. And I'd love you to tell us a bit more about that.
Well, the amazing thing, Alison, is that when I was growing up, I was the middle of 5. You know, middle kids kind of feel invisible. And I felt invisible pretty much all of my career, which, you know, I had gone on to get a master's degree, inch by inch, anything's a cinch. And, you know, I was probably 40 before I got that master's degree. But even in retirement, I was, I retired at 69. And it wasn't until I started coaching school that I came into class from you know, a lunch break, and I slapped the table and I said, "It's not okay to be invisible." Where did that come from? I shocked myself. And I later did about 4 or 6 months later, I did a webinar from the UK. I believe the guy's name was Andy Smith, and his topic was mental strength. And he said, well, when you're going into a difficult situation and you're not sure you've got it all together and you need more courage, he said, recall to mind a warm memory. Warm memory. Okay, his warm memory example was he'd always wanted to fly an airplane. And his warm memory is a picture of his son in the back seat of an airplane, small airplane, that he was flying. That just made him feel so good. And so my warm memory, I had always kind of used being in third grade and being a reader for the Christmas program. And I had 2 or 3 compliments afterwards that they thought I was their best speaker. Well, I had to teach myself. I looked around, how do you be a good reader or speaker? And so to get that compliment was just, made me feel so good. But I thought after Andy's class, why not think about how many more warm memories I could come up with? And I had a list of 9 or 10 things, and half of them were in front of people. What? Had I been in the wrong career? And so it was from there I started thinking maybe I was supposed to be an influencer. And so I took a class last spring, and they said, well, what are you known for? And I said, well, I had written a book called Fresh Courage in Retirement. And so, okay, I'm known for courage. So they called me a queen of courage. And it fits really nice that how many of us, even in retirement, feel invisible, or especially in retirement, because sometimes people, you've got an important job, so you're somebody. Well, you don't have a job, you're nobody,
Yeah, I think it's interesting just listening to you talking about childhood memories and how that itself can be a challenge for some people, and yet there are usually some or someone who has believed in you, whether that be a teacher, whether that be just somebody else, because it isn't always, and mine didn't always come from my parents either. So I totally get when people say they find it quite hard to do that, to be able to come up with a load of positive memories. But actually, from a mind perspective, I'm always reminding them that it doesn't have to be a great big thing. It can just be that one small thing that they could just remember, and maybe, like you say, use that as a place to step up in terms of courage.
Yeah, it could be an aunt, it could be a next door neighbor, it could be somebody that taught you a hobby or instrument, maybe.
Yeah, I love that.
The inner spark in you. Yeah,
they did. Yeah, often on the sports field or in this art class, or often somewhere maybe not as connected with the education side of it, because I think it's important, isn't it, when we help encourage people to use these strategies, that they are tangible for people, because some people say, haven't got any memories from my childhood. Okay, so let's think about some positive memories from a different part of your life to be able to build on that. But I just love this idea of really remembering that we can come from this place of invisible and become more visible, and I think that's really interesting.
Well, and why I kind of, being invisible was kind of the safe thing for me, because there was sexual abuse in our home, and my older sister had a baby by my dad, and I didn't want that kind of attention, so I didn't want to rock the boat. So I was really obedient, and I kind of knew my mom loved me. She was warm, but being invisible was in fact a safe thing.
Yeah, and I love that. I think I often work with people who have got strategies running that are very, very strong, ingrained in them. They serve them really well, often as a protection. But as adults now, when they can choose and they can have more autonomy, they don't need to keep these old strategies going. So, but I think, again, using your word of courage there, you have to have the courage to work out how you're going to let go of some of those old strategies that are protection.
Yeah, I've called that a compensating behavior. When your brother got more attention than you did, then what did you do to get your attention?
Definitely. But it's interesting, isn't it, how it can play out for people in relationships, in adult relationships. how it can play out in friendships, in work. It shows up in all sorts of places, doesn't it? Yeah.
In fact, this last year, I've been kind of working on how to love myself more. And it's interesting, the last couple months, I've noticed that when people talk about being a coach for relationships, love, finding love. I've never married and never had kids. So I've been kind of, even when I was writing the book, I kind of like, where is love in my life? And I thought, well, doing this is a labor of love. And I think my expression of love is different, but still, I want to be married someday. So it started with wanting to honor myself, and I'm still chewing on that some, but I've started saying in the morning, why am I incredibly beautiful, slim, and confident? Well, I'm not slim yet, and I think the incredibly beautiful is coming along. It helps every day to say that, because that in fact shows your love for yourself, and somehow it shows up.
Oh, thank you for saying that, Sharon. It's so lovely to hear somebody be so honest on something like this as well. And I want this show to be that for people, where we've always got genuine people who come on and say, finding self-love is really difficult to do. And it isn't something that is just dead easy. So many people find it difficult.
I've started seeing postings on LinkedIn, a business network, that is talking about self-care in your job or around your job. Whoa, this is a new day, Alison.
Yeah, me too. I work with more businesses now who are really looking after their staff, who have really, especially since the pandemic, who are now saying, okay, we really do need to think about our people. We really do need to make sure that they are looking after themselves. Managers know how to look out for things and support. I'm seeing a big shift in this now, but it's still got a long way to go in terms of actually people taking those steps, taking those breaks. I've heard so many people talk about working from home, not leaving the laptop, not getting up and having a little break, not looking after themselves in that way, where in an office you'd have little chats. So I think it's really important for us to keep a really strong eye and ear on our self-love, but also on where we're going to get it from, because it will come, won't it, from different places.
Well, in the burnout, I kind of decided, I just got my new website up last week and announced it on Friday, and I thought, man, announcing it on Friday before a holiday is not a good idea, but oh wow. But I decided, okay, I need to kind of take a mental break the next 2 weeks. I'm going to pretend I'm on vacation. And I finally made a list yesterday of how many cousins I have around the area that I could maybe go visit, but just having a new frame of mind and saying it's okay to, ease up off the gas pedal is an improvement.
It certainly is. It certainly is. And it's something I always say on this show, and I say it to all my clients, what's the one small thing that you can do, that you can take from either this chat or this show or just whatever it is that you're doing that day? What's that one small thing that you could do to get something started like this? And I love your idea of saying, okay, I'm going to take a bit of a break. I'm going to go and see some of your cousins. I love that. Okay, tell everyone where they can find you, because we know that you're obviously in the big USA, but I'm sure they can find you on socials and things.
Well, Sharon Rolfe, ROLPH is my new website. On Instagram, you can either look for Queen of Courage or Sharon. I think Sharon 7 is my number there, but Sharon _ Queen of Courage works there too. My book, Fresh Courage in Retirement, Finding Purpose, Essence, and Fulfillment, is on Amazon. And it's also on website freshcourage.now.site, where I have a couple other ideas that you might be interested in. My new offer that I'm made up for people, that is a call to courage, is on SharonRolfe.com. And it's And it says 3 tips, but there's much more than 3 tips, because I included a bunch of quotes. But I was asked to teach a class in Brazil online around. They wanted to hear English and practice speaking English. So I did a series on courage to be seen, courage to do, and courage to have. And it's all around being courageous enough to be vulnerable with your talent and your uniqueness in front of anybody you know. That takes a lot of courage. When I started making these art blocks before I left my last job. I love color, I love words of wisdom, and I love sewing. And when I first took one of these into my boss at work, a big company, and taking art into work, I was sticking my neck out. I felt really vulnerable, and I lived to tell about it. He didn't shoot me down. He didn't criticize or, how's that going to work? He left the door open for me to see where I could take it, and that vulnerability has blossomed into being in my book and on my book as a cover. So
nice, lovely. And I love that. I think we all need to remember, don't we, that anything that you see, if you look around the room that you're in now, everything that you see has been somebody's creation, and they had to be vulnerable to put it out to the big world to say, look, this is what I've got to offer. Even Apple and even the big boys at some point would have been vulnerable to put their stuff out. And I love that. We all need to do that, don't we? I've written 2 books too. And, I had to be proper brave when I first showed some people certainly my first book. And you do. You have to dig a bit deep and be vulnerable, but be courageous while you're being vulnerable.
Yeah. And the thing that I'm really getting into wanting to teach people is how to live from their essence. And nobody tells us what your essence is, but I can teach you that. And it's kind of like living from your soul, or defining your soul, your DNA, your inner spark. And when I started living from my inner spark, it felt like heaven on earth. What could be more wonderful than living from what mattered to me? And we all have different ways of things that matter to us, but does anybody really ask us about it? And then to live from that is powerful. And I want that for everybody.
Oh, it's so generous. And me too. I want that for everyone too. Oh, Sharon, thank you so much for coming on and talking to us today. It's been lovely and refreshing hearing your story, and also some tips and tools that people can take. So hopefully they can look you up and see what you've got to offer.
Yeah, I want to be an international speaker. So, my speaker part of my website isn't quite on the cutting edge yet, but I think I came up with a title that I love, and we're going to try it out a little bit. So
nice.
Thanks for having me, Alison.
Oh, you're welcome. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. How was that? I hope you enjoyed that. I feel someone like Sharon just comes, she wears a heart on her sleeve. She's really honest about her own stories, her own life, her own limitations. And hopefully you feel inspired just to keep going and to remember that everyone feels vulnerable at certain times. So I do hope you enjoyed our chat with Sharon. You can connect with Sharon on her socials. Her website is SharonRolfe, ROLPH.com. But on her website, she has a free downloadable gift, and it's called A Call to Courage, an inspirational resource, and it's 3 tips to awaken and ignite your inner spark. And that is a free downloadable gift. So why don't you pop over and see what that's all about? Okay, just a little reminder that this show is available across the week. It is played out on a Monday, 7 till 8, on a Thursday, 1 till 2 p.m, on a Friday 7 till 8 p.m. and then on a Sunday morning 8 till 9 a.m. And each show goes for 2 weeks and then we get a fresh one. So they're also available on Wirral Wave's website, and as I've said before, George puts them onto Two Minds YouTube channel, which if you subscribe to, you will get a notification when he puts a new one up. So if you think that your friends or family or somebody you know will benefit from listening to these shows, please do tell them. Okay, so it's time for quote of the show, and this is just where I bring an inspirational quote from somebody out there, somebody who is probably a leader in lots of things, and I've definitely chosen a leader in spiritual enlightening this time, and the quote is from Eckhart Tolle, and he's written many books. He's also one of my gurus. He's written The Power of Now, which is a book that I strongly recommend, and definitely when you think about time, this book is perfect because it basically helps you explore how you can just be present and be in the moment. So his quote is, "Time isn't precious at all because it is an illusion. What you perceive as precious is not time, but the one point that it is out of time, the now. That is precious indeed. The more you are focused on time, past or future, the more you will miss the now, the most precious thing there is." So that is his quote. When we think about time, we are often so busy wasting time going over the past or worrying about the future. And as Eckhart Tolle says in his quote, when we then miss the most important thing, which is now. In previous shows, we have talked about being present and being in the moment. We had the chat with Sean Orford, and I think this is a lifelong exercise for us all to master. So I just want to thank Sharon Rolfe for taking the time out to come and chat with me. Remember, you can check her out on her socials, sharonrolfe.com. Thank you as ever to George for his skills in the production of this show. Thank you to the Wirral Wave team for giving us this opportunity, which, just a little shout out for Wirral Wave Radio, it is 3 years old at the moment, so there's a little bit of celebration going on around this time in the studio. But thank you to you for listening in. Please tell your friends about Wirral Wave Radio, your community radio, and check out all the other shows during the week. There is a schedule that is full of different types of music, different styles, some chatty shows, some information shows, so something for everyone. In our next show, we are excited to say that we will have Estelle Meur in the studio with us. Estelle is an author, a blogger, and she works for Team Author. And Team Author are a company that's helped people self-publish. And Estelle actually read my second book, and she was my proofreader. So I'm excited to have her in the studio, where we will be chatting about all sorts and everything. And it's going to be great, really great fun. Okay, so we will leave you with a great tune with a powerful message, and one that I am often saying to clients, friends, and to myself. It is by Jess Glynn, and the title is Don't Be So Hard on Yourself. So leaving you with that message, myself and George will be back with a new episode on the 11th of July. In the meantime, be kind to yourself. Bye for now.
I came here with a broken heart that no one else could see. I drew a smile on my face to paper over me, but wounds heal when tears dry and cracks they don't show. So don't be so hard on yourself, no. Let's go back to simplicity. I feel like I've been missing me. Was not who I'm supposed to be. I felt this darkness over me. We all got there eventually. I never knew where I belonged, but I was right and you were wrong. Been telling myself all along. Don't be so hard on yourself, though. Learn to forgive, learn to let go. Everyone trips, everyone falls. So don't be so hard on yourself, though. 'Cause I'm just on top of the world, right where I wanna be. So how can this dark cloud keep raining over me? But hearts break and hell's a place that everyone knows. So don't be so hard on yourself, no. Let's go into simplicity. I feel like I've been missing me. Was not who I'm supposed to be. I felt this darkness over me. We all get there eventually. I never knew where